Are you looking to curl up with a good book? How about a true story of survival? They really can be page turners. Andrea Stepanek is here from the Brown County Library with 5 of the ones that she has picked. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Frozen in Time is your first.
Yes, as my coworkers and boyfriend can attest, I haven't stopped talking about this book. It's my favorite book that I've read so far this year. It came out in May. It actually tells 2 stories, a modern story and a story from World War II. In 1942 November, a plane crashed on the glacier ice cap, or in Greenland, and then another plane 5 days later was looking for it. That plane crashed with 9 people aboard, and then another plane that was trying to rescue the second plane crashed with 3 people aboard, one of the ones they had rescued. So it's really just an amazing story. And you kind of think it's hard to keep all the planes straight, but once you read it, you can't stop. And then they're also telling a modern day story about an expedition where this author went to Greenland, where they're trying to recover the 3rd plane, which is a small amphibious plane called a Grumman duck. And so they're trying to recover it where it's probably about 30 feet under the ice, trying to find it. So just really a fascinating story.
And once you're done with it, there's even more online, right?
Absolutely. Actually, I don't want to give away too much about the end of the book because it's kind of exciting, but right now they're doing a second follow-up expedition in Greenland, and it's happening right now, and the author's actually blogging about it live. So if you search for him on Facebook, Mitchell Zukoff, you can find him and you can read about the expedition that's going on right now.
All right, you sold us. Frozen in Time, pick it up. Okay, we're going to move on to a couple other ones. Into Thin Air, which a lot of people know about because it was made into a movie, and The Climb. Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of people probably know about Into Thin Air. It was by John Krakauer. It was very popular when it came out. He originally was going to Mount Everest to talk about the commercialization of climbing expeditions of Everest. But when he was there, over May 10th to 11th, 1996, there was a huge storm and 8 climbers died. So it was a very hard time for the climbers. And so he wrote kind of about that disaster. But what a lot of people don't know is there's actually another book that kind of told a different side of the story from a guide for a different expedition, Anatoly Borhiv, called The Climb, and he kind of tells a different side of the story because John Krakauer was kind of critical of him, so he tells a different side of the story. He writes the book a little differently.
Oh, you need to read both.
Yeah, I kind of need to read both to get both sides of the story. Yep.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
And then finally, Into the Silence and Above All Things.
Yeah. Into the Silence is kind of, it's historical, it's a huge book. This guy spent 10 years writing it, focusing on mostly on George Mallory and his expeditions to try to be the first person to climb Mount Everest, but also why the British were so driven to try to even climb Everest after World War I. It was so harrowing, and the country felt so beat down, and now they're trying to take on this huge endeavor of climbing the tallest mountain in the world. But it's kind of a heavy book to take on. It's 700 pages. And
it's 10 years of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on. So if you don't want to take on a book that kind of heavy, and you can actually take a new book that was written called Above All Things, and that's a fictionalized version of the story. And it's from George Mallory's perspective and also from his wife's perspective back in Britain while she's waiting to hear about the expedition. So it's a lighter story, but still the same thing, and just a great read.
Wow, I want all 5. I want to read them all. You can find them all at the Brown County Library, and they're available in so many different formats. So go to our website, fox11online.com, click on Good Day Wisconsin, and we have a link. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin.